So, welcome you all for the session. Today we are going to see the data processing cycle. So, already we get seen what is data, what is information, then the distinguish between the data and information, then what are all the data types like structured, unstructured, how the structured and unstructured data are using, and the difference between data and information. Some examples how we are accessing data and information, how the data are converted as a meaningful information. Likewise, we get seen in the uh, previous session. Okay, now let's move to the next one, a data processing cycle, how the data is processing in the entire context. So in the basics of data processing cycle, normally it is a step-by-step process, which means a step-by-step stage of data, how your raw data will convert into a meaningful information. In the very beginning, we get seen a example like we are having a raw data and like your name or some marks with some data. We can convert or we can process this data into a meaningful information. So here the processing cycle, it is a step-by-step process. I am having a data with my hand. So how that particular data will goes to the next stage, how I am going to process, which means how I am going to convert. Okay, so this is a step-by-step process, a series of operations. Okay, so which means how the data will be interpreted with each other. Okay, that is, it will be commonly involving with your input. That particular input will processing and it get a relevant output, and then we are storing, which means we are storing. Okay, so this is the basic of data processing. Okay, I just read out the term what is data processing. The data processing cycle is a step-by-step process that converts your raw data into a meaningful information through a series of operations, most commonly involving input, processing, output, and storage. Now let's look at stages. What are the stages which is involved for the data processing cycle? We are having a step-by-step process, which means a step-by-step stages, which means a raw data will be processed by a step-by-step. Otherwise, a stage by stage. Okay, so these are all the stage. These are all the stage how the data will be processed, how the data, how the raw data will be getting a meaningful information, stage by stage. Otherwise, step by step process. There are 6 different types of steps when we are processing your data. Number 1, collecting your data. That is data collection. Then data preparation. After collecting your data, you have to prepare your data. Then we can give the input. The input will be processed. Then you may get your output. Finally, all the output will be stored in your storage devices. So these all are the stages how the data will be processed. Otherwise, the data processing step by step. So this is the diagram which will be easily attractive by the students. Okay, that's what I am. So previously in this slide, I have listed out the stages of data processing. So this is the diagram. Okay, how the data processing stages will be evolved when we are using with the others, when we are interact with the data and information. Okay, so data collection, data preparation, input your data, process your data, data interpretation, which means the output of your data, and finally you have to store your data. So these are the different stages, or these are the step-by-step procedures. These are the step-by-step process of your data processing. Number 1, input. We can give any kind of input. Already we had seen the raw data fact. Okay, it may be a number, it may be a text, it may be an image, it may be a sound, whatever it. The input is a method of getting the instruction from the user and the data into your computer from the user. Normally I am doing a program, okay, to me any one of the program language. For example, it may be a Python program. Okay, so how I am getting the information or data from the user? Okay, so entering the data by the user, automatically the user will get the input from the system, will get the input from the user. Okay, so it is a method of getting the input or a instruction or a data from the user. Suppose I want a data from user, I want a data from yourself, I want a data from a student yourself. Okay, so that is I'm getting some information from yourself, that is a data. Okay, now how this data will be processed? I'm getting some data from yourself. How I process this data? Okay, so I'm getting data from yourself, like I'm giving you some instruction. Okay, that instruction which is given to me, otherwise you just return back to me. Okay, with a meaningful information, I just process this data. Okay, you can easily understand, okay, how your data will be processed. Then you make it the output. Okay, definitely you will get the output, whichever input you are given to me. Okay, process, then you are getting the output. Okay, I'm giving you a question to you. Okay, you're collecting the questions from myself, you're preparing the answer. Okay, there are some raw data in the question, there are some another raw data in your answer sheet. Okay, so all these raw data are combined together as the information from the question and the answer sheet. Okay, finally you are getting the output. Okay, so what kind of output you will get? You are getting output with the questions and answer. At the same time, the information will be evaluated by the faculty myself. So automatically you are getting the output, which is a method of producing outgoing information from computer to the user. So here, data, a type of knowledge. Okay, a type of knowledge may be any kind of knowledge, maybe any kind of data. Okay, it is unprocessed form, it is unprocessed. That's what we get seen in the beginning also. Okay, data means automatically it is unprocessed, but when it goes for information, it is a processed and a structured. Okay, so this is the data processing example. For example, input, we are giving a input like a numbers, like a day order. Okay, then we are arranging this input, then finally we are getting out. Okay, can you understand this input processing and output? You can easily understand. Okay, I'm telling you. Okay, here 33, 34, 35, 34, 33, 32, 36, these are the numbers. Okay, so how we are processing this data? The first step, we can arranging the data. Okay, how we can arranging the data? We can arranging the data in a sorting format, like ascending order to descending, descending order to ascending, whatever. Then we are having different days. Like similarly, we can arrange this date, day with ascending or descending, whatever it. Then we can combine the data. How we are combining the data? Like 33 combined with Monday. We don't have a 33 days, but how we can combine this day means we can combine a number 33 with Monday, which means in Monday we are having a 33 degrees Celsius of that particular temperature. Can you understand? You can combine the data. Okay, suppose it may be a data. Suppose I am giving, instead of 33, I am giving 13. Okay, how you can interpret this 13 and Monday? So Monday 13, 2025. Likewise. Okay, so this is the way to processing your data. This is the way to processing your data. So here we can easily understand there are five different types of different sets of number, then 5 days. Okay, each day having different numbers of temperature. That is, we are giving a raw data in our hand. We are processing that data. How we are processing means we are arranging, sorting, some combination or some mathematical operation, anything. Okay, finally we are getting the output. Can you understand the method of data processing? We are getting the input. Okay, then we are processing, then finally we are getting your output of your data. So this is the way how we are interpreting your raw information, otherwise your raw data, and finally how the data will be processed and how you are evaluating your data. Otherwise the evaluated data may be converted as a information. Okay.